It's the NFL on EA Sports, and we're in for a rematch of Super Bowl IX. It's the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers, next on Madden Football.
But not far from where the Steelers' former homes at Three Rivers Stadium, Forbes Field once stood, we are at Pittsburgh's Acrisure Stadium. Along with Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin, and for both of these teams that we're going to see, Charles, the future is kind of right now. You know, this is something you only see a handful of times in an NFL season where you've got a rookie quarterback versus a rookie quarterback.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the era we're in now, because our dads, they didn't see rookie quarterbacks go against each other. In fact, it could be 2-3 years before they even saw the playing field. Nowadays, you get drafted, they expect you to play earlier, and these guys as competitors, they'll take their lumps early, but they'd rather be on the field.
The kicker, Will Reichard, has the ball on the tee. And with the terrible towels waving wildly, we are underway from Pittsburgh. And a good effort on the return there. Gets him across the 30, up to the 33. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. Throwing to start the drive. Howard. And his throw is incomplete.
We have to see what kind of looks this defense is going to throw at him as this game moves along, but they're in a zone to start. I do think we'll see plenty of man coverage as we move along, but the first throw of this one, incomplete.
Now a 2nd and 10. Back to throw. Howard. That's to the veteran. It's Robert Woods. And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. Well, we saw plenty of throws like this in Columbus last year. He's got his guys a first down. On first down, he'll drop to throw. Pressure coming from the Vikings, and they get there and bring him down. Jonathan Allen, the talented lineman, planning him for the sack.
In every game we talk about what are going to be the keys as we go into it. Maybe that's a key for their defense today. Pressure the quarterback and make sure you play a good zone defense behind them, and they get their first sack of the contest.
Coming up now on a 2nd and 15 following that sack. They'll run for the first time with Johnson. And he'll be brought down, it looks like right at the 40. They'll wind up getting 10 back as that sets them up for 3rd down. I was pretty surprised there when they lined up to run it on 2nd and long, but it worked out for them.
It certainly did, and that requires some confidence, some fortitude, and a little bit of hope, doesn't it? You hope you catch the defense just right and break off a big run to help yourself out on the next down.
Able to find the open man. That's complete. And this is going to turn into another first down as the tackle is made at the Vikings 23. It's a pickup of 16 there, and it'll lead to a new set of downs. That early game script that they drew up is working pretty well here on this first drive. Already in field goal range, Charles knocking on the door of the red zone.
You know, Brandon, when we met with the coaching staff, they kind of predicted that they would come out firing like this. I think you and I were a little skeptical it would be this easy, but they certainly knew what they were doing in scouting, in preparation, and understanding what their team was capable of. That was well defended. They clamped down on every available receiver. Just got to give the win to the defense on that snap.
So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on first down. Warren will try the right side. What a great effort there. He's going to get this inside the 15, and they'll spot it at the 13-yard line. Nice run. A gain of 10, good for a Steeler first down. Quite the opening drive march they're on right now.
It looks a lot like what we saw in practice prior to the game, doesn't it? You know, because on that last big practice beforehand, you go through your offensive script. You go through your play calling. You go through all the stuff and establish things. And it looks like it's going like clockwork right now for them.
And they'll go backwards here, losing yardage to the 14. He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
The short field shrinks even more with the type of bodies they brought in on that play. Those extra tight ends, they weren't able to secure their blocks, and that one ended up going backwards.
Maybe just a slight detour on what's been a strong drive. Here's 2nd and 11. From the shotgun, he'll look to throw. Quick slant here to Woods. That'll give him 8 that time, and now it's 3rd and 3.
And I think he just wanted to get the ball to one of his playmakers to see if they can make something happen, but he ends up throwing into a crowded area, and after the catch, he isn't able to do much with it.
So play number 10 now coming. It's been a long opening drive, but this is 3rd down. Looking to throw. Howard. And that's a touchdown, but hold on. There is a flag down on the field. We'll have to see what this is about. So reverse the celebration. We'll see if they have something else in their bag of tricks.
And isn't that always tough to watch when they score and you see the excitement, and then when they realize those points aren't going to count? Can they get it back together and find their way back to the end zone?
Being chased out left. Decent gain on the scramble to 6, but now it's 4th.
Nice call on defense, rolling out the nickel package for that big 3rd down play, and they did an excellent job locking down coverage and forcing him to try and run for it, and he doesn't get there, which brings up a big 4th down call.
So on 4th down, the Steelers call on the number of Chris Boswell for the field goal try. From the left hash, should be a fairly easy one here. Boswell's kick is good, and the Steelers will jump out to a 3-zip lead. And all in all, a pretty decent opening drive, Charles. Pretty balanced. They had the passing game going and the rushing attack, too.
I would think they have to be happy with that start because you get your ground game going, which means your offensive line and your runners are pretty happy, and then you get your aerial attack going as well, so your quarterback and receivers have smiles on their faces. Now both up to speed, awaiting their next possessions for this game. They can't wait to get started again.
So here's the Viking offense making their way out. And leading them out there, we get a look at their 6'3" quarterback.
This guy's leadership is so important to how this offense functions. He doesn't shrink from any moments on game day, and everything he does with confidence. He sets the example in practice, off the field, and is the guy leading everyone out for each possession.
The result, only 4 yards there on the play, and it'll be 2nd down. I think defensively you're okay with that. You're in the first quarter. He's going to get some catches, but they rallied to him quickly.
And that's what you count on, and I like what you just said. First quarter, can you do it all game long? They catch it, you tackle them, they go down on the spot. Because when you're able to do that and you don't give up big chunks of yardage after the catch, now you put the offense in a position where every series, they have to work hard to pick up first downs, and you tend to stall them out when you do that.
They'll come up now on a 2nd and long after the hold. Looking to throw McCarthy. And that'll be incomplete. Took a pretty good shot as he tried to pull that one in. Couldn't hang on, 3rd down.
He did a fine job there of not hitting him before the ball arrived, and I've got to tell you, you can often mistime that play because of the angles of approach. When you're going to get him, sometimes you panic as well and think, I've got to be there right now. Instead, in this case, timed it perfectly and knocked it free.
And the Steeler pressure too much here. He's going down. T.J. Watt causing the disruption. He gets the sack.
Brandon, what I remember most about playing with guys who knew how to rush the passer, they would just tell you, just cover people for me, just long enough for me to get there. And that's exactly what happened on that play.
So on 4th down, Ryan Wright on to punt for Minnesota. The back deep for the Steelers is Calvin Austin. It'll be a net of 40 yards there following a 43-yard punt, 3-yard return, and out will come the offense as they take over. So good field position for the Steelers as they come up 1st and 10 on their side of midfield at the 47. Quick completion here to Johnson. So give them 5 yards there on the pitch and catch, and it's 2nd down. And just in general, Charles, on a play like that, how tough is it for the defense to account for a running back essentially being a receiver downfield?
It's very difficult, especially if the running back has skills like a receiver, and you're aware of that before the game even begins. So throughout your practice sessions, you're going to want to be aware of him. Where is he lining up? What can he do? What kind of damage can he do to us downfield? And who can match up with him without weakening our overall defense? You're exactly right. It's a tough task to match up to him.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. Off play action. Howard. Flushed out right. The escapability in evidence there as that one good for 15 and a first.
I can't be sure how much of that was planned pre-snap, but it certainly opens up some avenues for their offense. And if he can stay a threat to break off those kind of runs, it'll pull defenders away from coverage and open up some choice throwing lanes for him moving forward.
Now run straight ahead with Warren. And he'll take this ahead for about 4. 2nd down coming up. Second down and 6 now. Off the play fake. Howard. Got his man. It's Warren. And they'll work this down to the 15 for a pickup of 4. Third and 2. Back to throw. Howard. And he knocks the ball away, and it falls incomplete. The credit on that one defensively goes to Ambry Thomas.
That could have been a huge play, but give the defender credit. Stayed calm, stayed collected, and kept himself in a position to make a play on the ball without a penalty.
And Mike Tomlin going to roll up the sleeves here and say, let's go for it on 4th. They'll try and run for it. And he's not going to get the first. I don't even think he made it back to the line of scrimmage. The Steelers try it, but they come up empty on 4th down. And the Vikings defense is going to get the football back. So he needed the short yardage, Charles. He elected to try to bounce it outside of the outer third, unsuccessful.
Sometimes those plays are stacked up by the defense and there's nowhere to go, so you have to bounce it outside. And some backs just get impatient. They want to go to where they think there's more open territory instead of going where the play was actually blocked. In any case, it didn't work here.
They'll start out on the ground with Jones. And he gets forward up the middle, but only for a couple. It'll be 2nd down. This is 2nd and 8. They'll go again to Jones. And not a whole lot to speak of there as they'll bring him down shy of the 20. Now 3rd down is looming. A pickup of 2 on 1st down and just 1 yard there.
Back-to-back runs, I'd say that encompassed maximum effort for minimal gain.
Minimal yardage, and now they're going to need something more than minimal on this play coming up. Here comes 3rd down and 7. To the air with McCarthy. And that will be incomplete.
2 drives won't tell the story of this game, but you absolutely have to like how this defense has played thus far. They have yet to allow this offense to get untracked in this one.
So on 4th down, on is the punter, Ryan Wright. 44 on his first punt, and this is a good kick as well. And it's fielded at the 34. 46 yards on the boot. The coverage holds him to just 3 on the return. And it will be 1st and 10 as they take over. And now out come the Steelers. They've got a 3-0 lead and the football as they start 1st and 10. Throwing to start the drive. Howard running the slant. That's Robert Woods. And he'll be taken down, but not before he works it past the 50. Successful start to the drive, 17 yards, and moves the sticks. They'll look to throw now on 1st down. Another target and catch for Robert Woods. And he's corralled, but not before getting it inside the 35. Another connection between the two. This one good for 12 and a 1st down.
Well, he's been a busy man in this first half. They've targeted him quite a bit, including both plays here to start this drive. And until that defense starts reacting a little better, they may just keep going back to him.
They'll run it. Warren. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. This drive starts with 2 steps forward and now 1 back. A pair of 1st downs, and here a loss of yardage.
I know when I was a kid, I always got real excited when I saw those lateral type runs. But the best backs that made it happen, they put a foot in the ground and just go. That didn't happen there. That play got swallowed up.
To the right side and complete to Metcalf. Call it a gain of 3 on the play. And that's going to set up a tough 3rd and 9. Looking to throw. Howard. And that is incomplete. This Minnesota D up to the task on the 3rd down pass play.
Whether that's a little grabbing, a little hand fighting, by any means necessary on 3rd down, he was able to get the job done in the secondary and swat that one away.
Now Chris Boswell for the Steelers field goal try. From the right hash and call it an even 50 yards. Boswell's kick is good, and that will make it 6-0. Well, good start for him in this one here in the first quarter, and he's now 2 for 2 on field goals.
And I know while the offensive coaches are telling their guys, hey, let's leave the kicker out of it unless it's an extra point, this could pay dividends if this game is tight down the stretch. His confidence is going to be sky high if they need him for a big-time kick.
And out a little across the 25 to the 27. Minnesota's offense takes over possession. They've shown precious little here offensively thus far as they try again with a 1st down now. And now a fake on the jet sweep and a give to Jones. And that one blown up quickly as he's going to be stopped before he could even get started. Cameron Hayward getting upfield to make the stop.
And Cameron Hayward's ability to take on blocks, hold the point of attack, and get upfield serves him very, very well. What a nice play there.
Yeah, he can take on blocks because he's built like a block. Throwing is McCarthy. Complete on the quick throw to Moore. They'll wind up getting 7 on the play, and it'll be 3rd down. McCarthy, he'll set to throw it. Escaping the pressure right. (6-0) our score after 1. The Vikings with the football here to begin the second quarter as they've got it with a 3rd down and long coming up. Now McCarthy Going underneath, he's got Hockenson. And just 3 yards on the catch there. He couldn't get away. And that's going to bring up a fourth down. And here's Ryan Wright now as he's on to punt for Minnesota. That'll go as a 46-yard punt with a return of 7. And the Steelers set to take the field. Now they're about to come up on drive number 4, but so far just 2 field goals on drives 1 through 3.
Wondering if the head coach has talked with his offensive coordinator and said, look, let's go ahead and press this a little bit. I'm giving you 4 downs on just about every occasion to try and get this offense kick-started and have it culminate in touchdowns. You know, maybe something to press it a little bit. This might be the case.
Line of scrimmage, again the 37 as they line up 2nd and 10. Back to throw. Howard. That's into the hands of Woods. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory. Starting to rack up the yardage here in this first half. 5 catches now and a first down. Looking to throw. Howard. That's caught. He gets it out to Austin. That'll go for a gain of 7, and that will bring up 2nd down. Back to throw again. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
And there's a good opportunity. Just went awry there. A drop pass. I guess that's why they call them running backs and not catching backs.
And the Steelers on 3rd down. They've only converted once in 4 tries. Here it's 3rd and 3. They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. And he will have a Steelers first down, and he was able to get it by plenty. A gain of 8 on 3rd and 3. Pretty good location there on that throw.
It really was, wasn't it? That was likely one where the receiver was either going to catch it or no one. Really good decision. And, boy, what a catch and move right there.
And a tough spot to get it over the middle. And he's able to work his way down inside the red zone to the 19-yard line. Pittsburgh getting 16 yards there and also a first down.
We really didn't have any doubt that he was going to be one of the top-rated rookies coming into the league, especially as a runner. And he's given us no reason to change our minds. That's a big-time run, and the production that he showed us in college is translating very well into the National Football League.
And a nice job there skipping away from the 1 tackle and ends up getting 5 yards out of that. 2nd down.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a rundown, because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as well because you're headed towards the ball carrier with abandon.
Ball at the 14 for 2nd and 5. Here's Warren. And he'll fight his way down right around the 12. A minimal gain there on the 8th play of the drive. A 3rd field goal of the first half, not what they're looking for as they come up on 3rd down. Operating from the gun, Howard. Toward the end zone, but that's going to wind up incomplete. This Minnesota D up to the task on the 3rd down pass play. Another good drive, Charles, but it looks like another that might end in a field goal try.
They've made some nice plays. They've given themselves opportunities, but as you noted, another field goal attempt coming up. And that's not how they want to end drives. They've got to figure out what's the final touch that they need to push it across the goal line.
Yeah, still yet to find the end zone. So he's been a busy man here in this first half. That's 3 field goals for him now.
And not just 3 field goals. but 3 for 3. So even though the offense has struggled a bit putting it in the end zone, they've still been able to come away with points due to his leg.
After the successful field goal try, here's Boswell to send it away. And able to get this out to the 25. The Vikings ready to go again on offense. Not only are they in search of their first score, they're in search of their first down in this ball game as they come up 1st and 10. Moore, the man in motion. There go play action. Here's McCarthy. Going underneath, he's got Hockenson. They'll give him 4 yards there, and it'll be 2nd down. Here's McCarthy. And this is going to be caught, but they'll say out of bounds. So it's incomplete. So after the 2nd down incompletion, they'll come up now against a 3rd and 6. Operating from the gun, McCarthy. And that is too far out in front. He couldn't haul it in. Incomplete.
Well, based on what we've seen so far, I don't think you can even call this an off day anymore, partner, because this group we're watching, they are totally out of rhythm, trying to get their game plan up and running. That 0 on the scoreboard is glaring down at them with every incompletion.
And on 4th down, on is the punt team sending this one away. Just a 2-yard return there following a punt of 48. The Steelers ready to take over on offense. And last time they got 3 points, but it was a chip shot field goal. And when you go to the sideline after a chip shot field goal, maybe the offense not too happy.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Because you're exactly right. They're none too pleased that they didn't punch it in for 6 points. But they also have to remember they did put points on the board.
3 points is 3 points.
And in this league, you take points when you can get them. Not easily done.
It'll be a gain of 10 to start the drive out, and by a few inches, that'll be a 1st down.
I think the reason that this play is so successful is not just the blocking at the point of attack, but how about the speed at which he takes the handoff? He's in motion already, so he's not coming from a flat start like a running back often is. He's at a full run by the time he gets the football.
The throw here right sideline falls incomplete.
The quarterback got away with one there. Looked like he was in line for a pick, but instead is knocked harmlessly to the turf.
Here's 2nd and 10. Now a handoff up the middle. Warren, and able to use his blockers to get this up over the 40. They get 7 out of that, so they're left with a 3rd and 3.
Well, this play sequence was really kind of called in reverse. Incomplete pass on 1st and 10. Nice run on 2nd and 10 when probably everyone was expecting them to throw the football. Now, if you're the defense, what are they going to do on 3rd down? You're a little off balance.
On 3rd down, it's Warren, and he will have the 1st down as he's brought down up near midfield. A strong 8 yards will keep this drive rolling.
On 3rd down, that's a good job of situational football and understanding where the 1st down marker was and getting there.
2 1st downs have him up near midfield now on 1st and 10. Back to throw. Howard. And that one too wide and incomplete. So after the incompletion on 1st, now 2nd and 10. Looking to throw. Howard. And he can't find a receiver, and he's brought down. Jonathan Allen. That is now 2 sacks for him here in this first half. Well, he was really focused downfield, but there was really no viable options. The coverage was too good.
And the defense really quickened the tempo of that play with their pass rush because there was nowhere for him to go with the football. The only place he ended up, down on the ground.
7th play of this drive coming up, but a long way to go on 3rd down. Operating from the gun, Howard airing it out deep for Woods. Oh, this is taken in. It's complete. And he's in. Touchdown, Steelers. Robert Woods, 58 yards. And they are able to add on to their advantage. Well, partner, I mean, if anybody was still questioning whether or not he had an NFL caliber arm, I think you can toss that right out the window. That was a heck of a throw right there.
I would agree totally. Question it no more. This rookie, big-time throw right there. Great poise, stepped up, trusted he could lay it in there perfectly, and he knew that his guy was going to make the catch on the other end. Nice collaboration.
Chris Boswell now for the extra point. And that will make this a 16-point lead. So that winds up a 7-play drive all told. And it ends with a Robert Woods touchdown reception. Boswell now to kick it away after the touchdown. And he nearly broke that for more, but as it is, still a good return. They'll start the drive right around the 37. And the football going back to the Vikings offense. Still in the first half, but this offense has struggled. Haven't really been able to get anything going, not only in the points category, but in the yards category. We'll see if they can do better here on this drive. Steps away. Fighting to stay upright. And he'll slide to a halt here. Still a little shy of the first down marker. He'll wind up getting right about 4 there on the scramble. And it's 2nd down. McCarthy off the play fake. Out of the backfield, this is Aaron Jones. And he'll be corralled out across midfield down to the 45. They get 14 there. 1st down, Vikings.
Well, these guys have definitely been outplayed in the first half, but I like their countenance. I like the way that they haven't panicked out there, the way they're carrying themselves. They're starting to move the ball, and what you have to do, maintain your poise and start to put together some drives.
Now a 1st down carry by Jones. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. From the 43, here's 2nd down and 8. Back to throw. McCarthy. And he's going to be sacked. They sack him back right at the midfield stripe. It'll go as a loss of about 6, and now it brings up 3rd.
Well, if the goal is to get back into this game, the offense is certainly moving in the wrong direction. This is certainly a case where one team needs big splash plays right now, but unfortunately, it's the other team that's getting them.
This offense so far on 3rd down, not good. 0 for 4 thus far. This will be 3rd and 15. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. On the move past the 40. And they'll get this to the 30-yard line before crossing over out of bounds. Boy, a nice play there as they wind up converting on 3rd and 15.
And a nice job by the two of them to not only connect on the pitch and the catch, but to carry over their practice work to the game field. They saw the adjustment by the defense, made an adjustment themselves, and picked up the 1st down.
From the shotgun, McCarthy. He'll find Jones again, complete. So the completion gets him just a yard, and that's going to bring up 2nd down. They go back to the ground with Jones down right around the 25. So it's 3rd and 6, and this will be the 8th play of the drive. Looking to throw. McCarthy. Going underneath, he's got Hockenson, and he'll be out of bounds as he gets this down about the 21 or 22. Short completion, just 4 yards, and it'll be 4th down. They'll go with Jones. And he picks up the first down yardage as he takes it down to the 16. A solid pickup of 5 and a very solid 4th down conversion. And defensively, pure frustration. The 4th down run successful. Now they look to pay it off on 1st down. They'll run. This is Jordan Mason. And he is not going to go anywhere. They're going to get to him behind the line, and that is going to get us to the 2-minute warning. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11. Back to throw. McCarthy. Pass complete to Addison. That's good. The completion there for 7 yards. And this will wind up being a 3rd and 3. McCarthy operating from the gun. There's Hockenson in the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings. A 9-yard touchdown there. And the Vikings are able to make some inroads here to that deficit.
Well, the lost sleep that the defensive coordinator had all week preparing for this game, a good portion of it was trying to prepare for him because he's absolutely a phenomenal player.
And a lot of times around the goal line, they know it's going to him. It's just so hard to stop.
And that's where it really becomes difficult because you're exactly right. They know it's going to him, yet they still can't stop it. That tells you when you're a dominant player.
Extra point forthcoming. It's good, and that cuts it to 9 at 16-7. That one in the books as a 12-play drive. And it was T.J. Hockenson who finished the drive with a touchdown reception. So the lead is now dwindled to 9 as the kick here is away. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here right at the 30-yard line. Getting set to go again here, Robert Woods marches back onto the field, making his presence felt early in this one. First half, already over the century mark.
How about the yards per completion, too? That's a pretty darn good number there. Number of catches, but he's shredding defense, is getting big yardage with each and every one of them.
And that's good for a gain of 6, and it'll be 2nd down. Now the Steelers use the first of their 3 timeouts, as they'll stop it with just over a minute to go before halftime. Here now, 2nd and 4. Operating from the gun. Howard over the middle. That's caught by Metcalf. And tackled down after a gain of 3. Leaves him with 1 yard to go on 3rd down. An extra defender in the secondary for the Vikings here on 3rd down. And that nearly intercepted. Boy, for a guy known for his hands defensively, that's a ball he probably thinks he should have come up with. But instead, it's 4th down.
Well, they certainly did a nice job there, picking him up out of the backfield and then running stride for stride with him. That's good coverage, and it led to an incompletion.
On is the punter, Johnston, now as he sends this one away. Fair catch called for and collected right at the 10-yard line. The Vikings offense had Aaron Jones headed back onto the field. And he has been a big component of the passing game so far. You see the numbers for this first half. This defense is going to need to find some way to key in on him because he is eating them up right now. And it's incomplete.
That certainly appeared to be a play call where they were just trying to make second down, second and short. I think they thought the coverage was off a little bit more than it was. Nice job there pressing up on it and forcing the incompletion.
After the incomplete pass, here now is 2nd and 10. Looking to throw. McCarthy setting up the screen here. Aaron Jones. The Steelers signal for the second of their timeouts as the clock will stop with 18 seconds to go in the first half. These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. This time they stay on the ground. And he's going to be marked down short of the first down, right around the 17. Now the Steelers going to use their 3rd and final timeout. And with halftime on the horizon, they'll be out of timeouts from here forward. And here's Ryan Wright now, standing just outside his own goal line. Fair catch called for and taken right near the 30-yard line. So a change of possession here on the punt. And control of the football switching hands with very little time remaining until the half. And they're just going to run it here up the middle. And an anxious moment or two there, but they do get him down. So we reach halftime here in the Steel City with the Steelers on top. As we'll head down to Orlando, that's where we find our man Jonathan Coachman at our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach. All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. The Vikings set to receive the second half kickoff, and they trail it here as we resume play. And they'll get him down inside the 30 at the 27. Out come the Vikings. They'll have it first on offense as we begin the 3rd. And right out of the gate, they face what you think could be a pretty important drive.
I would say so. You know, they're down 2 scores. That's not the end of the world. It wasn't the strongest of first halves, but for them to start clawing back, they've got to start putting a little pressure on that defense, start cutting into this deficit. You can't have 3 and outs and expect to get that done.
2nd and 6. Operating from the gun. McCarthy, slant route, and he's got Addison. Just his 2nd catch of the game so far. This one moves the chains. Up the middle, Jones. And there just continues to be nowhere to run. He's bottled up again at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down. Offensive line really didn't give him any room to maneuver on that play.
Things closed pretty quickly, didn't they? And how about the wrap-up at the end of that tackle? Left no doubt there would be no additional yardage to be found.
Back to throw now on 2nd and 10. All that gets him is just a yard, and now it's 3rd down.
Partner, just a second earlier, and they might have had him because they certainly thought they were going to close in and drop him behind the line of scrimmage, but he had just enough time to dodge the pressure, and he ends up getting yardage before being stopped.
Now the terrible towels in full force now as the Steelers get set to defend this 3rd and long. From the gun on 3rd down. McCarthy eluding and he can't get rid of it. He's taken down. Looks like a 9-yard loss, and it also brings up 4th.
I'd say it's not panic time yet, but let's be honest about it. Empty possession here, not what you're looking for when you're down a couple of scores.
Absolutely not. Trying to start the second half off on the right foot. Unfortunately, going to give the ball up. And here's Ryan Wright now as they're forced to kick for the 6th time today. Here's Austin. And that'll be a return of 12 following a very nice punt. And the Steelers will go on offense here, 1st and 10. Getting set to go again here, Robert Woods marches back onto the field. Good day for him so far here in the 3rd quarter. He's hit pay dirt once, over 100 yards, but hey, it's the 3rd quarter. He's thinking, I want more, right?
He wants more, and it just increases the confidence of his team because every play he makes, that means his quarterback is really feeling good about throwing the football. Probably feels like he can't throw an incomplete pass when he throws it to him right now.
Yeah, he's looked really, really sharp. An incomplete pass on 1st down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Back to throw. Howard. And, he's unable to hold on to that defensively. A potential game changer, but it falls incomplete.
And I think he was a little surprised to see the ball sitting out there like that. That's a ball he had a chance to come away with, but it winds up an incomplete pass.
Now they face a 3rd and 10 after back-to-back incompletions. Operating from the gun, Howard. He'll let it fly for Austin. And this is caught inside the 5. And he's going to take it in for a Steeler touchdown. Calvin Austin, 65 yards. And the Steelers add 6 to their lead.
Partner, they had a good lead as they went in at the half, and they came out here in the second half and found a way to extend it. I love their consistency. Don't worry about what they said at halftime. This seemed like a team that was ready to play 60 minutes, and while this game is far from over, I love their approach.
Now Mike Tomlin says, let's go ahead and go for 2. They'll try and throw for it. And he's got it. So the try for 2 successful. And that bumps their lead up even further. And around the goal line, especially on 2-point tries, sometimes the QB's best friend is that big target, the tight end.
I love how you described it because you know he's going to have some length and some catch radius as well as a big body to keep people away from the football.
Boswell now to kick it away after the touchdown. And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. Now the Vikings offense works their way back onto the field. Here are the Vikings now to start their next drive. I kind of feel like they've reached a do-or-die point in this game, Charles. If they're going to try to pull off an impressive comeback, it has to start right here, right now.
Yeah, now they've got a final chance to get out of this situation, but they also understand they've got to move the ball and move it fast. In addition, they need to save as much time so they can get 2 more possessions.
Officially nothing on that last run. They'll try again, 2nd and 10. Looking to throw McCarthy. And hit behind the line. He lost the football. It's loose. But it looks like one of the DBs has it. Well, if these guys wanted to get back in this game, they needed an almost perfect second half. And down 3 scores, a lost fumble here certainly doesn't fit into that plan.
You know, it reminds me of my plan in college to get an A on the papers I turned in, but that didn't work out too well either. Too many mistakes by both of us. I mean, that's just pure and simple. And that's why that's exactly where they are in this ball game. They're going to need a huge turnaround if they want to try and win this one.
To throw is Howard. Following the fumble recovery, he'll throw. And he's going to go down here, a sack. They push him back to the 34. Buried by multiple defenders on the drive's first play. And on that one, the protection just broke down.
You've got to have that leverage, don't you? We always talk about low man wins in the running game for an offensive lineman versus a defensive lineman. It's essentially the same thing in pass protection. Get lower than that defensive lineman so that you can keep your balance and keep him away from your guy trying to throw the football.
Second and long. Completing it to the right side, Johnson. And he'll be a couple yards shy of the red zone here at the 22-yard line. They get 11 back on that one. It leads to third down.
And that was yardage that they needed there after the sack on first down. They didn't get all of it back, but now they look at third down as a manageable situation, one that they have a much better chance of picking up.
Howard from the gun on third down. A short one there to Freiermuth. And he is out of bounds, looks like right at the 15. Second catch for him today, and it'll wind up a first down.
That was a route run not just with dexterity, but with intelligence. Found the hole in the zone, made sure the quarterback saw him, and was able to make the sure catch and flip the down marker back to 1.
Now on first down, he'll drop to throw it. Now throw right side here, going to be incomplete. Robert Woods, former USC man, the intended target, and now it's second down. They'll look to throw again. Pass is caught. It's Metcalf going across the field here. And he's in. Touchdown, Steelers. DK Metcalf. A 15-yard touchdown grab. And the Steelers are able to stretch out their lead. So they're able to capitalize there on the short field, and that might prove to be the score that turns out the lights.
The party's over. Oh, sorry about that. That's an old reference there, folks. But, yeah, they've been the better of the two teams by far, and that's great complimentary football right there. Defense gets the turnover, sets up the short field, and the offense goes right out and scores to open up a pretty sizable lead.
Boswell good with the extra point, and the lead is now 24. So that drive spanned 5 plays. And it's DK Metcalf who finishes things off with a touchdown reception. Boswell now to kick it away after the touchdown. And the tackle going to be made right there at the 25-yard line. And now out comes Minnesota. Right now, they're in a bit of a tough spot here, CD. You trail them by double digits. Remember the last time out, they fumbled. They're going to have to play some clean football here on this possession.
And all the talk on their sideline has been about taking care of the football, making sure that they're handling the ball correctly. So you know they'll be squeezing the rock pretty tight here. They just have to be careful not to go so hard in doing that they actually cause themselves other problems. Take care of the ball, but still try and play free and natural. And this is what they're going to need more of. It's the third quarter. You're trailing. You've got to come out with a renewed sense of purpose, and that's a nice way to kick off the drive with good yardage and a first down.
An inside give to Jones. And boy, this defense again really making things tough on him as they stop him for no gain.
I think what we just saw there, partner, was linebacking speed that can trump O-line power. We see that at times because he filled the gap before the offensive lineman could get to the next level and take him on.
2nd and 10. On the delay, Jones. And he'll take this one for about 4 up to the 40. Now, during that run, an injury here, we got one of those big blockers in some discomfort. So as the medical staff takes a look, we'll step aside. This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. To the air with McCarthy. Able to find the open man. That's complete. And he will have a Vikings 1st down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
And you start to think if it's going to happen for these guys, it's got to start with this drive. Down 3 scores, they need to start making some inroads. And that'll help the cause there as they pick up good yardage and a 1st down.
Throwing is McCarthy. Looking for Addison again, and he's got him again. And he's tackled a yard short of the marker. Good gain of 9 on 1st down. Ball on the 40 now. Here's 2nd down and a yard. The give is to Jones. And they'll be inside the 35 now at the 34-yard line. 6 yards the pickup, and that's a 1st down.
Yeah, once more, strong running, excellent blocking at the point of attack. They've got a nice little drive brewing right here.
From the 34 now, here's 1st and 10. McCarthy, he'll set to throw it. A quick throw there is incomplete.
Well, a momentary speed bump there with that throw, partner. The defense had other ideas, and they're trying to mount a small stand before this drive reaches the end zone.
From the 34, they'll come to the line on 2nd and 10. Now McCarthy. Complete. Jefferson the target. And this will be a gain of 5 as he gets it to the 30. They'll break the huddle and come up on the 9th play of this drive, needing 5 yards on 3rd down. Looking to throw. McCarthy. That is caught. And he gets it all the way down inside the 10 and mark him at the 5. Back-to-back receptions for him, and it's another 1st down.
And this is an offense in need of getting a few good things to happen. Here's one right here. They've had their share of struggles in key moments, but that's a nice throw and nice work after the throw, and they're set up now with a 1st and goal.
Now we've got movement up front, and I think this is going to be on Minnesota. That flag accepted, and it backs the offense up a little bit. The situation changes a bit now. 1st and goal from back at the 10. Jefferson going to go in motion right. Now they show jet sweep, but instead a run up the middle here. And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. Aaron Jones, a 10-yard touchdown run. And the Vikings are able to cut into that deficit.
Sometimes you get a 1st and goal and you're back near the 7, 8, 9-yard line, and you start thinking, maybe we'll run it here on 1st down to get half of what we need, so maybe we can have 2 or 3 shots at going for it from closer range. So this is a bonus right here. What a great run to work his way into the end zone.
McCarthy going to look to throw for it. And he's got it for the 2-point conversion. So they tack on a pair more here to narrow that deficit a bit further. Well, it's still an uphill battle from here, that's for sure, but that makes it a two-score game.
And now we see why teams practice so much on the two-point conversion, why you have more than one play ready, because you may need multiples to throw out a ball game. There's a great example right there.
Minnesota's kick team ready, and the Vikings booming away. And able to get this across the 20, but not much further as he's dropped at the 23-yard line. Pittsburgh set to take over again on offense. The Pittsburgh offense at the line to start their next drive. Their lead down to 2 scores after the touchdown a moment ago as they start with a 1st and 10. And a short pickup to about the 25.
Sometimes you're aligned perfectly and the play comes to you, and sometimes you got to cover some ground to go make the play, as we just saw there.
We saw a great example of perseverance right there on that play.
Got to be careful. They might want to throw one over his head as this game progresses.
Here's 2nd and 8. And this throw incomplete. Now the defender all over him that time, but it's going to lead to 3rd down.
Well, it's easy to see when we review this that the ball needs to come out quicker, because if you don't throw it right on the break, you bring a crowd of people into the equation.
And that's why it got knocked away there. So the failure to connect on 2nd down, that leaves them staring up here at a 3rd and 8. Out of the gun, they'll look to throw. Oh, a first mistake for him in the ball game as it's intercepted. Picked off by Harrison Smith. And what a return as he brings this one all the way back to the 25-yard line. They've got a pretty comfortable lead right now, but maybe a little too careless with the football that time for the rookie.
I think the key word there is comfortable. And there's 2 schools of thought on it. With that type of a lead, maybe you can take a few more chances because you have a cushion. Others will tell you, don't eat up the cushion with careless play. He'll learn to ride that line as he moves on in his career.
Now the Vikings now heading onto the field. And they'll start with great field position, trying to get back into this one. It's 1st and 10 here. Slot man moves right. Now he's going to get it on the jet sweep. And that is not fooling anyone. He never had a chance to turn the corner there. And they'll go backwards right away. T.J. Watt, always a disruptor, there to blow that play up. That's the danger, Charles, of running plays like this for your wide receiver. They can hit big or they can be duds.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that, because if they're forced to try and go around defenders behind the line of scrimmage, sometimes you can give yardage in order to gain it. But in this case, they gave yardage and didn't get it back.
And he'll go out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. They get 14 there. 1st down, Vikings.
I'm okay with the call there. In fact, I actually like it. I know they're down a couple of scores, but the running game worked in that situation. I would continue to go in that direction.
After the run by Jones, here's 1st and 10. And they'll give him another shot here on the ground. And this time they were ready for him as they'll stop him right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play there. 2nd down. They've called his number a lot this afternoon. You wonder how much tread is left on those tires.
We certainly do, but I always think back to one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. And he used to have a meeting with his running backs every year in the offseason and say, look, as many times as you're going to carry the ball, you should be able to carry it one more time, so make sure you get in shape.
And down inside the 10 here before he's out of bounds, right around the 7. They get 6. That'll leave them with 3rd and 4.
But that's what you're looking for when you want to throw the ball downfield. You want one of those guys who can play out on the perimeter, can play out wide, who can not only get open, but when they're covered, can uncover themselves downfield and create catches.
Here's McCarthy. To the goal line, but it's incomplete.
Well, plain and simple, That's the second time today that he's dropped a pass.
And that one, I think, maybe even a little easier than the earlier one that he dropped. Surprising.
Was this game announced as a night game prior to, and maybe his rhythm is just off? He's got thrown off. He's got to wake up, enjoy the sunshine, and go play.
And his kick is indeed good, and that will cut the lead down to 13. Well, the 3 points certainly helps, but you feel like, Charles, at this stage of the game, when you force those turnovers, need to start converting them into touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised myself because I thought in this situation they were thinking end zone or bust. Now they got to rely on their defense to get the ball back again for another opportunity to get 6 points.
And he takes this near the 25. Just a little pass there. Call it the 26. The Steelers offense and their quarterback headed out for this next possession. And he had it going in the first half, that's for sure. He's really had his way with his secondary. They've been powerless to stop him, and he'll look to keep it rolling right here. They'll start on the ground here on first down. And he's going to take this ahead for right around 3 yards, but no more than that. Second down. From the 29, here's second down at 7. Back to throw. Howard. Austin brings in the quick throw. That, I believe, will put him over 100 yards receiving for the game. Yes, it will. And he's got a first down to boot. Operating from the gun, Howard. He's got his man. That's Woods on the out route. So 8 yards on the completion there, and it'll be second and a couple. And as they come to the line, they will not be able to get off another play as time has run out on this third quarter. We'll return with more after this break. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Back now in Pittsburgh. It's Steeler football, and they have the lead as well as we begin quarter number 4. Oh, they'll get this to Metcalf on the jet sweep. Oh, and this one may need to go back to the drawing board. He's going to be swallowed up right away. He'll lose a yard on the play, so now they need 3 yards on third down.
Well, as a wideout, when you take that handoff and you're coming around the edge, you're expecting to see nothing but empty space in front of you. But if not...
well, things can go south in a hurry, and that's exactly what we saw on that play with a loss. And intercepted. Maybe the turning point they need. Picked off by Harrison Smith.
Well, this is something we've seen before, partner. We've seen a defense bait a rookie, pretend to leave a window open, and then the defensive back jumped it as soon as the ball was released. Big-time play. They love taking advantage of the youngsters, and in this case, it paid off well.
Minnesota's offense takes over possession. The interception was a great starting point, but now they need points pretty quickly, down 2 scores. A give to Jones. And some room to maneuver. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. That one 28 yards on the ground.
Good, strong, explosive run that started inside, which means you've got to control those defensive linemen, the defensive tackles, the nose guards. Those guys have to be controlled. How about the offensive line, the job they just did?
Yeah, key that A-gap usually on those runs, right?
That's where it all starts because everyone wants to kind of control that area. It disrupts things from the defensive side and the offensive side. As we just saw, it opens up possibilities.
Oh, moving from his tight end spot there.
Do you think that perhaps the play call was for him?
Looking to throw. McCarthy. A quick throw knocked away and incomplete.
And that's a nice job there because you've got to play the ball, not the man when in coverage. That'll keep you away from a lot of needless penalties, and he's able to knock that one away.
2nd and 15. Going underneath, he's got Hawkinson. They get 14 back, but it leads now to a 3rd down.
His position, and he's listed as a tight end, but he certainly doesn't run like one, and that's what we're seeing more and more coming into the league. Those guys who can run, make plays after the catch, and gain that additional yardage.
And using that speed there to turn it into a pretty nice little gain. Working out of the gun is McCarthy. There's Addison. Touchdown, Vikings. A 9-yard touchdown there. And the Vikings have made it a one-score game again here in the 4th. Well executed there offensively. Defense looked a little confused, but he found his receiver, and that one good for 6 points.
And the payoff we just saw there tells us how many times they ran this play in practice over the past few weeks, because they executed that flawlessly right here on game day when the situation arose.
Point after here coming up. And the lead will shrink to 6. So that drive, 4 plays. And Jordan Addison capped it off with a touchdown catch. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. And he'll take it up past the 25 to the 26-yard line. The Steelers offense and their quarterback set to take the field once more. And he has been masterful so far in leading this offense. He's kept the mistakes to a minimum. He's been on point with his passes, and he's generally been one step ahead of this defense all game long. They'll start this drive out on the ground. And he edges forward, but only gets a pair of yards out of it. It's 2nd down.
I like that run right there, partner. Not the flashiest run, not the one that's going to break for big yardage, but he understands the situation, and taking care of the football, paramount, and he got it done.
Nursing that slim lead, you're exactly right. Hold on to that ball. Back to throw. Howard. Then Woods has it complete. And he takes this up to the 40-yard line before being corralled. That'll put him over 150 yards receiving now. Quite a ball game and a 1st down. And that last reception puts him over 150 yards now on the game, Charles.
And now it's not just execution. It's not just performance. It's a mental aspect that's going on. Because right now, he has got the defense so much on their heels, got them looking at each other. Who's going to cover this guy, and what type of coverage can we put out there to try and slow him down?
47 yards rushing for him now to this point.
I like a guy who understands the situation. I also like a guy who you look at him and you say, that looks like a guy who knows the coach is going to say, guess what? You drop this one, you'll be carrying around the training facility for an entire week.
Maybe flashback to high school or college, carrying it around campus, right?
The old gauntlet drill, right? Anyone get the ball out while he's sitting in class and bring it back to the coach, he's in big trouble.
Robert Woods, the intended receiver that time. And it's 3rd and short. They'll try and run for it. Here's Johnson. On a determined run there as he's going to take this all the way down near the 40. 12 yards that time at a Pittsburgh 1st.
Well, it is our business to analyze what we saw out there, and on that play, I saw a defense staying in base, not taking a chance, not blitzing in a situation when they absolutely need the football back. That's either a case of overthinking it or not thinking it through.
If you do blitz, do you have to be careful about where you're coming from, or are you just coming from all angles?
You have to be careful about where you're coming from, obviously, but at this stage, you have to take a few chances as well. They kept the receiver in the short field, but that let his quarterback get the ball quickly to him before either guy in double coverage could react.
If nothing else, they've already taken a couple minutes off the clock here already as they come up 2nd down. Looking to throw. Howard. A short one there to Freiermuth. And he gets it down a yard or two shy of the 30 before he's out of bounds. They'll get 3 as the drive continues. It's a 1st down. Flag comes in. This might be a free play. And this one drops incomplete, but I think the defense jumped. Well, we looked at each other right when he flinched. We knew that that flag was coming.
Yeah, offsides, easy call, mark off the 5, and keep it moving.
Now they'll try to take advantage of that offsides call. Here's 1st and 5. On the give, it's Warren. And he's able to get it to the edge of the red zone at the 20-yard line. Now it looks like we're going to get a stoppage here. An injured Steeler on that last play. Well, now they're going to come out and take a look at this injury, and we'll be back in a moment. They couldn't ask for much more to this point in the second half. A gorgeous day, one-score game. 1st and 10 here. Back to throw. Howard. Washington's got it. And the Steelers are going to have a 1st and goal as he's taken down at about the 8-yard line.
And what a nice example there of a tight end doing exactly what he needs to do. How about how he worked his way to the outside, made sure he secured the catch, and then anything after that, we count that as a bonus. And indeed, he gets enough for the 1st down.
Warren will try the right side. And he's able to get it down to the 2-yard line. A terrible spot for a holding call as they'll try again, but now from further back on 1st and goal. Following the penalty, it's Johnson. And he'll fight his way down right around the 12. He'll get 2 out of that run, and it's going to bring up a 2nd and goal. Still a ways from the end zone as they come up now on 2nd and goal. Operating from the gun, Howard. Dancing to his left. That escapes the sack. And he's in. Touchdown, Steelers. A 12-yard touchdown run. And the Steelers will add to their 4th quarter lead.
What an effort there. Sometimes you hold your breath a bit when you see your quarterback diving for the end zone. You don't want him to land on a shoulder wrong or take a big shot. But he looks none the worse for wear here, and that winds up a touchdown.
And now they'll empty the backfield here as they elect to go for 2. They'll look to throw. And this one's caught. And their 4th quarter lead grows by a couple more. And the formula there on the 2-point try, they go 5 wide. Not even the option to hand the ball off. They got it.
They tried to create space, and there isn't a whole lot of it there. For the defense, what you're trying to do is make sure that if they're going to catch the ball, make them catch it behind you because they run out of space with the back line. But in this case, the offense figured it out.
Boswell now to kick it away after the touchdown. And up to about the 26-yard line, just across the 25. The Vikings offense and their running back getting ready to go back to work. And he has put in a full game's work and then some. Just an incredible performance on the ground to this point in the 4th quarter. The Minnesota offense about ready to get this next drive underway. As this offense comes back out here, Charles, they're trailing in this ball game. And they've been on the sideline for a while. They did score their last time out, but they just had to watch that long, sustained drive. So we'll see if they can shake the rust off.
Yeah, and that's always a question that you have when you have to come off the bench after having sat there for a long time. Are you ready to go? Are you loosened up? but even more so, are you mentally alert and ready to put your best product out there?
And he's going to be taken down with a marker on the field. So let's see about the call. So they will tread backward on the holding penalty.
And I know that they're going to get coached up and they'll get yelled at a little bit, but let's face it, it is hard not to do at the speed and pace that they play.
And he's up past the 10 to about the 12. 4 yards on the pickup. It'll be second down. Looking to throw. McCarthy throwing quickly there, but it's incomplete.
Well, partner, guaranteed they approach this play with the idea of making up ground to make third down manageable. Unfortunately, with that incompletion, right back where they started on the last snap. Now they need a big third down play in order to pick up the yardage needed.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on third down. Back to throw. McCarthy caught by Jones. He's up to the 20, and he's out right at the 25. 14 yards is the pickup there, but it'll still lead to a fourth down. Going for it. Here's McCarthy. That's to his running back, complete. And he is going to pick up the Vikings first down on what will be a big play there on 4th and long. The time to pull out the stops is now, and they convert there on 4th down. Fourth quarter, every drive so critical, and you figure may only get one more shot after this, so a touchdown's imperative on this drive.
It is, but you also have to think to yourself in play calling, don't hold anything back. Don't save it for the second touchdown. You've got the first one for the second one to even matter.
To the air again, McCarthy. And a flag comes in as that one falls incomplete. Well, let's see who this is on. So following the hold, they're in a bit of a hole here with a 1st and 20. They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw. This one brought in by Jefferson. And he'll be brought down just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. It's a big play, yet amazingly, because of how far they had to go, they're still looking at a second down here.
All right, this is the time of the game where they're down a couple of scores, and they've really got to get some yards in chunks, and they know the defense doesn't want to give those up, but they've got to find a way to take them anyway.
Now the question is, can they string a few of those together? Oh, that'll be incomplete. Well, he took a shot as he let that go. And it's going to bring up a third down.
We've seen this quite a few times in this game. Offensive line unable to keep leverage, unable to keep people away, facing a lot of pressure. Fortunate just to get rid of it.
One of the reasons they're down is that inability, though, to stop the pressure. We saw another example of it there. McCarthy going to throw again. And he will slide to a stop. He does have the first down. A nice pickup there, 10 yards.
It certainly appears that he's been able to get a read on how they've wanted to contain him in this game. He's seen some places where he can beat them in big spots, and right there, he slides in with ease for the first down.
Operating out of Steeler territory now. Here's 1st and 10, right at the 40. And this will be incomplete. Physical play on the football there, and it's second down.
Well, they've had success getting the ball to him out of the backfield, but this time they had a man right on him. He was able to break that play up before he could get started.
So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on first down. From the shotgun, McCarthy. And that went too far in front. He couldn't reel it in. It's incomplete.
What would look like a march to the end zone has hit a momentary roadblock with that incompletion. No need to panic. They just got to come up with a high percentage play call and see if they can get their offense back on track.
This offense was on the move. Now 2 straight incompletions have them looking at 3rd and 10. Looking to throw McCarthy. That's going to be knocked away and incomplete.
When you're leading in the final quarter, your radar has to be up for any potential deep shots. And probably not the last one they're going to see in this game, not as long as they hold this lead.
All right, they're going to try and keep hope alive here on 4th down. They're going for it. They'll indeed go. Here's McCarthy. And it's incomplete. They cannot convert, and they turn it over. The Vikings unable to convert here on 4th. And this 11-play drive is going to lead to nothing on the scoreboard. So the defense has to stay out and get one more stop. They were able to do it, forcing the incompletion.
So on their record, that goes down as a successful play. Doesn't matter how they got there, how it happened. They got it done. They're the ones that are jubilant.
This one into the hands of Metcalf. And he'll be taken down, but not before he works it past the 50. A 14-yard gain there as they look to improve this 14-point lead.
Well, it may seem a little unorthodox to some people. Got the lead, 4th quarter, yet he's still firing away. I think he believes that's the best way to go ahead and win the game.
Yeah, a lot of coaches say, let's just run the football, be conservative. He's sticking to his game plan.
No, that is his game, and that's what they're going to ride.
5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on 1st down. Well, at this stage, that's exactly what you want offensively. Good run on 1st down. Stay in bounds. Keep that clock rolling.
And look at that play chart that the play caller has in his hands right now. That's what you got to focus in on because that's divided up by sections. And right now, he's looking at that 4-minute offense section. What running plays do we have to bleed down the clock and take care of the football? Right now, they're executing really well.
And he'll go down here at the 35-yard line. 6 yards the pickup, and that's a 1st down.
I know we're in the era of wide-open football, a lot of spread formations, more space, but there's still a spot for power football, and we just saw some of it right there. How about that run?
Yeah, breaking the tackle, and, you know, late in this game, he wants the football in his hands. He's had a good day. Now run straight ahead with Warren. And he will make his way back to where he started from, and that's all, as we will make our way to the 2-minute warning. So the Steelers with the football as we get you reset. And the scoreboard on their side, they're just looking to melt away these final couple of minutes and put this one in the left-hand column. And not much running room. Down to the 32. And now we'll see a timeout used on defense as they stop it right out of the break with 1:57 to go in the ballgame. Now this is a big 3rd down, and you'd have to think we'd see a timeout right away if they can't stop him here. A handoff for Warren. Now the Vikings will use the 2nd of their timeouts. That'll leave them with just 1 remaining in this 4th quarter of play. Now Chris Boswell for the Steelers field goal try. This to make it a 3-score game late. Boswell's kick is good, and that will extend their lead even further. So a nice kick there as they are able to add on to their lead.
And that's exactly what you're looking to do. Maneuver yourself into range. That way, if your drive stalls out, you're able to get something out of it. And they do so right there.
After the successful field goal try, here's Boswell to send it away. And he won't quite make it to the 25. And out now come the Vikings. Well, this game, it has had no shortage of offense. They've been able to put up a decent amount of points on this side, Charles. They just have not been able to keep pace with the other offense they're going against here.
Yeah, that's a good way of pointing things out because now it's not a total loss because, as you said, they've scored some points, so there's some plays they can build on, moments where the game plan actually worked. But overall, though, they were just out personnel. They were going up against a team that's playing at an elite level.
Nice way to start the drive, a gain of 12 and a first down.
That's a nice catch there. Remember, he had the fumble earlier. No way he was giving up the ball in that situation. Secured it tight to his body and picks up the first down.
They'll look to throw here on first down. Looking right side, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Brandon Echols. What did you see on that one? Rookie mistake or just good defense?
It was a combo plate, but the rookie quarterback, he'll take it all on his shoulders, and the frustration level is evident. You can see it with him. You know, if that's a veteran quarterback, he walks off like he just threw a touchdown pass because he doesn't want to show that to the defense. The young guys, they take it more to heart. It's on their sleeve a little bit. He'll learn as he goes along how to hide his emotions.
The Steeler offense set to regain possession. And this one all over but the shouting, you might say. Now, there's one timeout remaining defensively, but probably no real need to use it here.
Yeah, the only time they would use it, strictly for pride.
The D can only stop it one more time as they take the knee. Second and 11. On the run, it's Warren. He will push his way down to about the 14. The second down play, not much better than the first, just a gain of 1 there. Charles, a lot of happy faces heading into the tunnel as this one ends, and understandably so. Not only did they get the win, but boy, their offense was on fire in this ball game.
And partner, I have no idea what the top speed is on one of those high-end sports cars. What's the top gear you can get into? This offense, they certainly were there in this one, huh? Everything clicking for them in this contest, the kind of performance that they're going to cherish.
So that's a wrap for Charles Davis. I'm Brandon Gunn. And this has been a presentation of the NFL on EA Sports. For more, check us out at easports.com. The Steelers earn the win at home as we say so long from Pittsburgh.